it's me, Gemma. I haven't been around for a while, as you know. I've been having a wee baby who is just down here, trying to keep her quiet. I'm here because I just want to say a humongous thank you, because this week or last week, we hit 2 million subscribers, guys. That's 2 million of you signing up to what we do over here on Cupcake Jemma channel. And it means a lot, especially because it's happened during such crazy times and I haven't been around. And Sally's been doing an amazing job getting loads of wicked recipes to you, and you have been loving it. So, huge thank you to you. Huge thank you to Sally and Sam and the whole team at Crumbs and Doilies for really bringing it and getting us through these crazy times. A huge thank you to you for being such a good girl while I film this intro. And just thanks all round. I hope you've been enjoying the content. I am very grateful. So, meanwhile, Sally is over in the kitchen making one of my favourite treats. It actually means quite a lot to me because I am part Welsh and I got married in Wales last year. And this is going to be a recipe for Welsh cakes. I wish she was here to give me some Welsh cakes, but she's not. But maybe Sally, if you could just come over to Brighton, that'd be great. Anyway, over to Sally.
Thanks, Gemma, and thanks also to you guys for getting us to 2 million subscribers. We are absolutely thrilled and over the moon that there's so many of you out there baking along with our recipes and sending us all your photos. We just absolutely adore it. So do please share all your photos over on Instagram. You can use hashtag Cupcake Jemma so that we can all see them and share them. But let's get on with this week's recipe, which, as Gemma told you, is Welsh cakes. Now, I recently went on holiday to Wales because, I mean, it's Corona times and I wasn't able to go to South America as planned. So I ended up in lovely rainy Wales, which was beautiful. And they have Welsh cakes and I could not stop eating them. They're delicious, they're very, very simple, and this is a great recipe to do with kids because we're going to make them in a pan on the hob, so as long as there's a little bit of adult supervision, they're going to love it. It's really, really quick as well. So we're going to start by making it all in this large bowl here with some self-raising flour. So I've got 225 grams of self-raising flour because they do need a little bit of lift in them. And into that I'm going to add a little pinch of salt, like so, and also a little pinch of cinnamon. Now this isn't to make it taste like cinnamon, it just kind of enhances everything, so not too much, maybe like 1/8 of a teaspoon if you want to get scientific. Now I'm going to stir those together with a spoon, and then we're going to add 100 grams of butter, which I have softened slightly. Now we're going to put our hands in and we're going to rub these together, a bit like making short crust pastry or shortbread or scones, whatever you want to call them. So what I'm doing is I'm squishing it between my thumb and my fingers to kind of flatten it out and incorporate the flour with the butter. Now the key thing here is to make them short, just like all those other things I mentioned, and what that means is it's going to be crumbly, and this is how things kind of melt in your mouth. Like if you have a shortbread that just crumbles and melts, you know that it's been done like this and it's been done correctly. So what we don't want to do is combine it too much because we don't want to work the gluten, because gluten's going to make it tough, okay? So that's sort of what we mean when we're talking about making things short. So we want to keep going, not quite to bread crummy stage, we're still going to have these big bits here like this. And then we are going to add 20 grams of caster sugar or granulated sugar, and this isn't too much sugar because they're not super sweet, and also we're going to make them in a pan so we don't want them to burn. And then we need the all-important sultanas. You can use currants, raisins, sultanas, or a mixture of all of them. I personally think sultanas are nice because they're kind of squishy, so I've got 30 grams of those, and we'll just mix them around a little bit. And next you want to make a well in the middle of your bowl like this, and into that well we're going to add 1 tablespoon of whole milk mixed with 1 egg. So before you add them, grab yourself a whisk or a fork and just give it a good whisk to break it up. And once your egg and milk mixture is in your well, I'm going to do this next with a palette knife, but you could do this with a regular kind of butter knife, and we're going to cut the mixture together just like this. So the reason I'm doing this with the palette knife or a knife is that I'm not using my hands too much, because remember, we don't want to melt that butter because we want to keep it nice and short. So once it's all started to come together, we're going to tip it out onto the surface. And I'm going to use my hands now to gently bring it together into one ball. And then I'm going to do a tiny little bit of kneading, not too much, so just like as if we were making shortbread or short crust pastry. And this is going to be quite a stiff, crumbly dough, but don't worry, that's exactly how we want it, because that's how we get them crumbly and short. And now it is time to roll this out. So first of all, as usual, we're going to dust the surface with a little bit of flour. I'm using plain flour for this, and I'm also going to dust my rolling pin in flour, even though it's supposedly non-stick, has a tendency to stick. So this is going to crumble and crack a little bit as you roll it, but don't worry, honestly, it's going to be fine. And I'm rolling this out until we get to about 5 millimeters or half a centimeter in thickness, because remember, these are going to rise a little bit because we use the self-raising flour, but they are also supposed to be thin. Like if you've not had Welsh cakes before, then yeah, they are like little thin, they're like squashed scones, I think. And then once we are there, we're going to cut these out. You can do this with any kind of cookie cutter you want, but traditionally you'd use a round fluted one just like this. And we're going to chomp out as many as we can, and then we can re-roll the pastry and just use it all up. And once all of your Welsh cakes have been cut out, it's time to cook these. So if you have a cast iron pan, or it's heavy like this one here, or a hot plate or something, that is ideal. But if not, a frying pan will do just as well. So pop on your hob to a low temperature. We want this to be low because they're going to be on for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. Now, because they've got butter in them already, we don't need to grease this with anything. So we're going to get this to temperature, and we can put maybe about 4 or 5 in. We're going to go 3 minutes, have a little peek, and if it's ready, we'll flip them over. So once you've cooked all of your Welsh cakes, you want to let them cool down a little bit, but they're best served warm. And one thing I like to do when they come out, when they're still warm, is to sprinkle them with a little bit of sugar. However, if you're going to keep them for a few days' time, I wouldn't do this, because the next best thing to do is, once they've cooled down, you can put them in the toaster to warm them up, put a little bit of butter on them, and they are absolutely delicious. I'm just going to break one of these open and show you what it looks like inside. That looks so lovely. It's almost got those kind of like flaky layers in it, a bit like that kind of pie crust that we've been doing recently. I'm gonna have to try one of these. So good. They're so, yeah, they just kind of melt in your mouth. And I know that they don't look like the most beautiful kind of things, but they're rustic and they're delicious. And when I was testing these last week in the bakery, I made a mound of them, and I left them in the kitchen, and I went back an hour later and there were just crumbs there, because everybody was just helping themselves, saying they were so Moorish, and they are absolutely delicious. So please have a go at these. Let me know how you like to eat yours. Maybe you like to do something exciting, like put cream on them, a bit like a scone or something. And next week we'll be back with a very seasonal recipe, and we're gonna make a pumpkin pie, because a few weeks ago I put a little shout out on my Instagram asking what pie you guys wanted to see, because probably a month or so ago I made that chocolate silk pie and it was delicious, and I'm desperate to use the pie crust again, and you all wanted pumpkin pie. So I'm making pumpkin pie. We've been testing our recipes. We're pretty happy with it. So come back next Thursday and I'll show you how to make that. Until then, enjoy your Welsh cakes. Keep sharing them with me. Share them with other people if you want, or just eat them yourself.